My wife hid a secret phone for her affairs, so I hacked it, exposed everything, and made her lovers regret ever meeting her. A while back, I found her burner phone. We had switched internet providers, and our new modem came with an app to manage the network and connections. It was unreal how many devices we had connected to the Wi-Fi. One night, while I was playing around in the app, I noticed an Android device phone. We both have Apple devices, so at first, I thought someone had guessed our Wi-Fi password. I changed the passwords, but a few days later, the Android device reappeared. One day, while working from home, I noticed the Android phone disappeared when my wife, Cindy, went to work. When she got home that evening, the Android device returned. I finally got a chance to look through her car and her purse but came up empty. That night, while she was in the shower, I went through her gym bag and found the phone tucked away in her briefcase. I didn't have time to try to look through it, so I put it back. The next time she went to the gym, I went to look through it, but it was gone. The following night, I found it again in her briefcase. This time, I took it and tried to unlock it, but none of her old passwords worked. I decided to take the phone to a repair place down the street to see if they could unlock it. I had to confess to the tech the real reason for wanting to get into the phone, as I'm a terrible liar. He felt sorry for me, I guess. An hour later, he called me and said he was finished. He backed everything up to a thumb drive. When I got back home, I read the contents and saw all the pictures and texts between her and 2 different guys over the last 9 months, including graphic discussions about their hookups. 6 years of marriage went up in smoke. I thought I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe and just sat there at the computer, staring at it all. I felt better after an hour and guessed it was just a panic attack. When Cindy got home, she was very anxious, wandering around the house, obviously looking for her phone. I asked if she was okay, and she said she lost some papers from work and needed to find them. I offered to help, but she said she would find them herself. I got her back in the kitchen, pulled out the burner phone, and asked if this was what she was looking for. There was that deer in the headlights look on her face, and panic started to rise. I said there could be only one reason why she would have a second phone in her briefcase and asked if she was cheating on me, which she denied. I said, "Fine, then give me the password so I can see for myself what's on it." She tried to turn it around on me, saying I was invading her privacy. I handed her back the phone and said her response just proved my suspicions. I sat down on the sofa, felt the hot flash again, and started to cry a little. When she saw the tears, she softened and said it was only once, that she felt guilty about it and cut things off. I opened up the file on my tablet, handed it to her, and asked, "Only once?" She kept saying she was sorry, that it wasn't my fault, and that she wanted to stay together. I said I needed some space to think and that we needed to separate while I decided how to move forward. She disagreed and said we needed to talk it out, so I started asking questions. How did she meet her married coworkers? Where did they hook up? What kind of sex did they have? What did she do with them that she hadn't done with me? Were they bigger than me? Did she use protection? She finally said, enough, and that she couldn't do this anymore. She asked how long I had known. I said I found the phone a week ago but didn't see what was on it until today. I said I was still in shock and needed time to process it all. She agreed to spend the rest of the week at her sister's house, and we could talk more that weekend. She wanted to schedule a session with a marriage counselor the following week, and I agreed to that. I didn't tell her I would be consulting an attorney the next day to get an idea of my options. Last Christmas, her sister got divorced after finding out her husband was having an affair. There were several family discussions about cheating at her parents' house and how low her ex-brother-in-law was for betraying his wife. I can't imagine what was going through Cindy's mind, sitting there, being just as guilty. The thought of leaving her kills me, but I don't think I could forgive her or ever trust her again. We had been talking about kids, but I'm so glad we were still waiting. Here's the new info on my to-do list. First, I showed my text collection to my attorney, and he is proceeding with the filings. He gave me a worksheet on things I need to do in the meantime. Second, all my medical tests came back negative. Third, I met with the first affair partner's wife that afternoon and gave her hard copies and a thumb drive. I showed her the pictures they had traded. She's not going to confront him with it until he is served. Fourth, I met with Cindy's sister, not the one she's staying with, but the one who just divorced her cheating husband, that night and showed her the most damning texts and let her see what her sister had sent to her affair partners. She was angry and, at the same time, a little sad. She apologized to me and said she had no idea what her sister had been up to. If she had, she would have told me. I'm sure I'll hear about her sister when Cindy comes to the house tomorrow to get some of her things. She wants to sit down and talk, probably about how we're going to move forward. This may be the last entry here on this thread. I may post a separate update later if needed. The community suggested informing her sister and family of this before she has the opportunity to do damage control by accusing me of whatever she can think of and to greyrock her while I consult an attorney and get an STD test. I replied that she knows the mountain of truth I'm sitting on, and we had a discussion about telling lies to our families and friends before she left today. I'm seeing my attorney today and my doctor tomorrow. Isn't it ironic? Upgrading your internet connection not only boosted your download speed but also unveiled a whole new world of connections you never bargained for. Who knew your Wi-Fi upgrade would come with a side of detective work? It's like the universe decided to gift trap a trail and deliver it straight to your modem. The next upgrade on the list, a firewall for your heart and maybe a subscription to a free streaming service. At least you've got a solid connection with your attorney and your doctor now. Priorities, right? I found a burner phone in my wife's briefcase. I got a phone tech to hack into it and found that over the last 9 months, she had 2 affairs. When I confronted her with the phone, she denied having an affair and then said it was only once until I showed her copies of her texts and photos they had exchanged. I told her I needed some space to process this, and she has been at her sister's house all week. She wants to reconcile and go to couples therapy to help us get past this. Since she's gone, I've decided to file for divorce and have a lawyer working on it. Her first affair partner was married, and I've reached out to his wife and shared her texts. She is currently starting divorce proceedings as well. One of her sisters recently got divorced due to her husband's infidelity, and I shared everything with her as well. Cindy came over to the house last night to get some things and to sit down and talk. She said she was sorry for hurting me, that she's still very much in love with me, and wants to stay together. Her affairs were never about the quality or quantity of our sex life, and she asked if I felt like my needs were ever neglected. Our sex life was pretty spicy, we averaged 4 to 5 times a week, and she initiated half of the time. She just enjoyed experiencing sex with other people and being showered with attention. She's willing to go to therapy to find out why she desires this and to help her be a better partner to me. She said she would understand if I wanted a pass to explore or get even by dating another woman, and if that was something I liked, we could look into having an open marriage so we could both explore that together. I told her that was not something I would ever be interested in. She said she missed me and wondered if there was a chance I was ready for her to come home, even if it meant sleeping in the spare bedroom for now. I said it still felt too soon, and it might be better if we gave it some more time. I didn't tell her that I had filed for divorce. She should get served sometime next week, according to my lawyer. We had a session scheduled for Wednesday for couples counseling that I have to cancel. Besides their betrayal, our views on our relationship are miles apart to even consider reconciling. Cindy seemed visibly shaken when her sister confronted her about her infidelity, a reaction that suggested she had anticipated the reckoning, even if she hadn't prepared for its sting. The truth had unraveled swiftly, and by now, her entire family was aware of her betrayals. Her parents, once pillars of support, were deeply disappointed, their disapproval casting a heavy shadow over her. I could only imagine the weight of their judgment, knowing how much their opinion had always mattered to her. This morning, a few mutual friends dropped by, their intentions cloaked in concern but tinged with a misguided hope of mending what was irreparably broken. They sat across from me, their voices soft yet insistent, urging me to reconsider and give Cindy another chance, to salvage our marriage through forgiveness and effort. Their words, though well-meaning, felt like a betrayal of their own, as if they hadn't grasped the depth of her deception. I paused, studying their faces, and asked pointedly how much they truly knew. When their answers faltered, I revealed the burner phone, its damning contents spilling out like a flood, texts, photos, undeniable proof of her affairs. The room grew heavy with silence as their expressions shifted from sympathy to shock, then to embarrassment. They had been swayed by Cindy's carefully curated half-truths, unaware of the magnitude of her actions. I didn't blame them entirely. It's easy to believe a friend when the full story remains hidden. Yet, their initial defense of her stung, a reminder of how easily trust can be manipulated. As they left, their apologies hung in the air, but I was left grappling with the solitude of my resolve, knowing reconciliation was a path I could not tread. The community had some thoughts. One person said I'm modeling how to do things the right way, especially the self-respect aspect, and bet that my soon-to-be ex will move in with some sucker within 6 months. Another noted that besides the betrayal, our views on a relationship are miles apart to even consider reconciling, suggesting I never really knew my wife because she never revealed her true self to me. They called the deception insane and advised me to keep the ball rolling. As for my friends, they should support me in the decision I make, not encourage me one way or the other. I replied that it's easy to believe someone you know when you don't know the whole truth, and Cindy is spinning her own narrative, leaving out the facts that make her look bad. Another community member said this is why I need to divorce her. If she really wanted to work on things, she would have been open, honest, and transparent, but she's lying and minimizing things. Her wanting to work on things is about her, not me. Another thought was that it's amazing when a wayward wife is caught and doesn't confess. They always suggest therapy, say they can change, and are willing to do anything to stay together. Where was all that enthusiasm to fix the marriage before they cheated? She says her affairs were never about our sex life but rather her need to be with others, as if that would make me feel better. They hope I stay the course and that she gets therapy to do better in her next relationship because she has broken this one beyond repair. They suggested asking friends who encourage me to reconsider if I can have sex with their wife and if they would stay with her after, so they know what they're asking of me. Cindy is fervently advocating for couples therapy, as if it could somehow mend the shattered trust she so carelessly discarded. Her insistence feels like a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative of her betrayal, to cast herself as a remorseful protagonist in a story where forgiveness erases all wrongs. The chaos she's created, marked by her affairs with multiple partners and the web of lies she's spun, seems to her like a problem a few counseling sessions might solve. She's even rallied a small circle of friends, who, unaware of the full extent of her infidelity, offer misguided encouragement for reconciliation. Their support, though well-intentioned, stings like a fresh wound, revealing how easily her deception swayed those around us. Perhaps she imagines a therapist could unravel the reasons behind her choices, as if understanding why could erase the pain of her actions. But I've already made my decision, choosing to step away from this fractured marriage rather than linger in its ruins. Preserving my dignity has become my anchor, a quiet strength that guides me away from her attempts to pull me back into a life I no longer recognize. I refuse to play a role in her envisioned sequel, where betrayal is merely a plot twist to overcome. My path forward is clear, grounded in self-respect and a commitment to healing on my own terms. I wish her well, but I cannot stay. It took the process server 3 attempts to serve Cindy today, but at 2:15 in the afternoon, she was finally served at her office. I was surprised it took her an hour to finally call me. She was upset, and I told her it was a simple power exchange. She had all the power before, and now I've taken it back. I asked her when she started to cheat, what she thought would happen if she got caught, and if that's why she got a second phone. She still wants to work things out, and I agreed to go to counseling with her, if for no other reason than to get answers to questions I have. At least our insurance is paying for most of the cost of therapy. I have little desire to reconcile, but I'm just playing along until the divorce gets taken care of. The online community I turned to for guidance speculated that during the hour before Cindy finally called me, she was likely reaching out to her affair partner, only to face rejection. They suggested her sudden desire to reconcile stemmed not from love but from necessity, a fallback plan after her lover turned her away. Their advice was clear: prioritize my own well-being and play the long game, as Cindy showed no regard for me during her infidelity. I reflected on their words and responded, noting that her current affair partner lacks the financial means to support her lavish lifestyle. He's not a high earner, far from capable of sustaining the life she's accustomed to. Deep down, I've always sensed her desire to remain with me, but now I question its sincerity. Another voice in the community cut through my thoughts, asserting that her claims of wanting to stay are hollow. True commitment, they argued, would demand transparency, a complete, unflinching account of her affairs, a detailed timeline, even a polygraph to verify her words. Instead, her actions betray a different motive, preserving the comfort and security of her lifestyle, not rebuilding our bond. As I sit with these insights, I'm struck by the clarity they bring. Cindy's words feel like a carefully crafted facade, designed to protect her interests while leaving me to grapple with the wreckage of her betrayal. I'm beginning to see that her heart lies not with me but with the life we built, a life she now risks losing. My resolve strengthens. I must guard my future, not her illusions. I had a bit of fun today after work. I stopped off at a downtown restaurant and had a drink at the bar. It was before the dinner rush and pretty slow, so I was able to have a long chat with the bartender. I told him I had recently found out that my wife had been cheating with 2 different men for the last year. I said the first affair partner was married, and I had met with his wife and given her copies of all the evidence I had collected. She had suspected he was unfaithful but never found any proof. She was going to use what I had given her to take him to the cleaners but wasn't going to confront him until the day he got served. The bartender asked about the second guy. I said he was single, and I hadn't decided what to do about him yet, but I'm a big believer in karma, and I'm not afraid to help karma out if the need arises. He laughed and said that was a good one. I finished my drink and gave him my credit card to tab out. He froze for a second when he saw my name. I said, "Give my regards to Cindy, my wife, and be seeing you, Kevin." There's nothing like dropping a truth bomb with your cocktail, right? At least I got to enjoy my drink and serve some spicy karma, all while leaving Kevin with a frozen grin. I shared emails and pictures with the wife of affair partner number 1. She surprised him with divorce papers last week. I confronted affair partner number 2 at the restaurant where he works. I said he knew everything and that I would be seeing him, my favorite John Wick line. 2 days later, affair partner number 2 got fired from his job. Just karma, I had nothing to do with it, I swear. I told my soon-to-be ex-wife's sister, who got cheated on recently, about her sister's shenanigans. Divorce papers were served to Cindy, credit cards were canceled, and bank accounts were separated at my request. She did not attend a birthday party for one of my friends this weekend and was uninvited to an annual barbecue with our friend group on Memorial Day. Yesterday, we had a couples counseling session. It started with me getting ripped for costing her affair partners their marriage and job, respectively. I said I had nothing to do with Kevin losing his job but have no sympathy for either one due to what they did to contribute to wrecking our marriage. When I asked how she knew all of this and if she had been in contact with them since we split up, she deflected and said they reached out to her. I asked to see her phone to confirm that, and she refused. So, I said, I guess we're done then, and stood up to leave. Our therapist tried to smooth things over and get us talking. I asked why she cheated on me and how she met her affair partners. She had a very well-rehearsed answer I didn't believe and won't dignify by repeating here, but she was being very contrite, complete with tears, about wanting to reconcile and save our marriage. Of course, she wants to move back in while we work on settling our differences and fixing our relationship. Our therapist did an excellent job of being fair and not taking sides. She asked me what I needed to move forward, and I gave her a list of 5 things, a full account of the affair, where they met, and how often, with all the details and nothing held back, a list of friends and relatives who knew of the affair when it was happening, full access to her phone tonight before we leave, a full apology and confession of the affair on her social media accounts, including the names of her affair partners, and once the divorce is finalized, I would go to therapy with her again to see if we have a relationship left to salvage. After much back and forth, she agreed to everything except numbers 3 and 5. I conceded number 3 but said she needed to retain a lawyer and respond to divorce papers as soon as possible. I told her she killed the marriage when she decided to cheat, and that had to be resolved before we could move forward. This afternoon, she posted her apology and confession to her social media accounts, complete with affair partners tagged. I haven't heard from her since our session, so I don't know about the other items. I also got word that her attorney had reached out to mine to arrange a meeting for next week. We met with the lawyers earlier this week, and I was pleased with the settlement for the most part. She agreed to give me the house in exchange for assuming $111,000 of credit card debt. I had originally told her that if we had to sell the house, I would be moving to another city, and reconciliation would probably be off the table. I did have to commit to 3 more couples counseling sessions under the pretense of working on having an open relationship. She wants to move back in soon, but I said I needed some more time with my own personal therapist before I'm comfortable with that. All that matters is that she signed the settlement agreement, and after a short waiting period, the divorce will be final. Once the divorce is final, I will follow one suggestion to let her read the posts and realize the player got played. Divorce papers delivered like a surprise pizza, job termination served like a cold dish of revenge, and social media confessions sprinkled with a dash of vindication. Cheers to turning life's lemonade into a lemon-scented disaster zone.